The scene unfolds aboard a packed domestic flight somewhere over the American Midwest, the hum of the engines barely drowning out the restless chatter of passengers in economy class. The air feels stale, the overhead lights flicker faintly, and the atmosphere is thick with the mundane tension of air travel. At the center of this story is a passenger seated in 14B, a middle-aged black man, dressed in a plain gray sweater and slacks, his demeanor unassuming yet quietly commanding. His name is James Carter, a federal judge whose authority remains concealed beneath his modest appearance. His sharp eyes scan a legal brief on his lap, but he blends into the crowd, another face in the sea of travelers. Across the aisle, a businessman in a wrinkled suit taps furiously at his laptop. A single mother struggles to quiet her fussy toddler, and a rowdy group of college students in the back trade jokes over the drone of the plane. Enter the flight attendant, a young woman in her mid-20s, blonde hair pulled into a tight bun, her crisp uniform offset by a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Her name tag reads Kylie, and she moves down the aisle with a cart, her movements mechanical, her tone clipped. She hands out drinks with practiced efficiency: water for the businessman, soda for the mother. But when Judge Carter raises a hand and politely requests a cup of water, her eyes flicker over him and she pauses. "We're low on water," she says curtly, her voice flat, before moving on to the next row. The businessman, without asking, receives a cup moments later. Carter's brow furrows, but he says nothing, returning to his papers. The subtle slight doesn't go unnoticed. The single mother glances over, her lips tightening, while one of the students in the back nudges his friend, whispering something under his breath. Kylie continues her rounds, her demeanor growing colder each time she passes Carter's row. When he tries again, voice calm, words measured. "Excuse me, could I please have some water now?" She snaps. "I told you we're out," though the cart visibly clinks with unopened bottles. Her tone carries an edge, sharp enough to draw eyes from nearby seats. The businessman looks up from his screen, annoyed at the interruption, while the mother shifts uncomfortably, clutching her child closer. The tension simmers in these small moments. Kylie's refusals aren't loud or dramatically quiet, deliberate, laced with a disdain she doesn't bother to hide. Carter remains composed, but his fingers tighten around the edges of his brief, a faint sign of irritation breaking through his restraint. The students in the back start to murmur louder, one pulling out a phone as if sensing something brewing. The mother catches Carter's eye and offers a sympathetic nod, a silent acknowledgement of the unfairness unfolding. Meanwhile, Kylie's interactions with other passengers, white passengers, remain warm, almost performative. She chats briefly with the businessman about the weather, refills his cup without hesitation, and even tosses a playful comment to the students about their noise. As the flight stretches on, the pattern becomes undeniable. Carter's requests, always polite, always simple, are met with excuses or outright dismissal. "I'll check later," she says once, not bothering to follow through. "You'll have to wait," she mutters another time, her eyes avoiding his. The air around row 14 grows heavy, a microcosm of unspoken conflict. The businessman, now engrossed in his work again, seems oblivious, but the mother's discomfort deepens, her toddler picking up on her unease and starting to whimper. The students, sensing drama, lean forward in their seats, one of them angling his phone discreetly toward the aisle. Carter sets his brief aside, his patience visibly thinning. He adjusts his posture, sitting straighter, his presence shifting from unassuming to authoritative, though he still holds back from confrontation. Kylie, oblivious or indifferent, continues her rounds, her cart rattling past him yet again without a glance. The mother finally speaks up, her voice soft but firm. "He's been asking for water for an hour, won't you help him?" Kylie freezes, her fake smile faltering, and shoots back. "I'm doing my job, ma'am. We're short-staffed." The lie hangs in the air, flimsy and transparent. The businessman snorts, muttering something about entitled people, while the students stifle laughter, their phones still recording. By now the cabin feels like a pressure cooker. Carter's silence is no longer passive, it's a coiled spring, a storm gathering behind his calm exterior. Kylie's prejudice, subtle at first, has hardened into something blatant, her every move dripping with contempt. The other passengers are no longer just bystanders. They're witnesses to an injustice unfolding at 30,000 feet. The mother's quiet support, the students' growing interest, The businessman's indifference, all of it, sets the stage for what's to come. The flight is still hours from landing, but the real descent has already begun. A plunge into a confrontation that will shake the plane and soon the nation. The flight drones on, a claustrophobic metal tube slicing through the clouds, its passengers trapped in a simmering cauldron of tension. The hum of the engines is no match for the rising murmur rippling through the economy cabin. In seat 14B, Judge James Carter sits like a statue carved from patience, his gray sweater and unassuming posture belying the storm brewing beneath. His legal brief lies forgotten on his lap, his sharp eyes now fixed on the flight attendant, Kylie, as she maneuvers her cart down the aisle with a smugness that's impossible to miss. Her blonde bun is still pristine, but her mask of professionalism has slipped, revealing a cold edge that cuts deeper with every pass. Start small, as it always does. Carter raises his hand again, third time now, his voice steady, polite but firmer than before. Excuse me, I'd like a cup of water. I saw you serve the others. Kylie freezes mid-motion, her hand hovering over a stack of plastic cups. She turns, her blue eyes narrowing, and snaps. I told you we're out. The lie is flimsy, laughable even, as the cart rattles with the unmistakable clink of unopened water bottles. She wheels away, leaving a wake of stunned silence behind her. Carter's jaw tightens, but he doesn't press yet. Minutes later, the insult doubles down. Kylie returns, her cart creaking, and with a flourish, she hands a chilled bottle to the businessman in 14, the man who didn't even ask. She flashes him a syrupy smile, her voice lilting. Here you go, sir. The contrast is glaring. A slap in the face delivered with a grin. Carter sets his papers aside, his movements deliberate, and leans forward slightly. Miss, he says, his tone low but piercing. Why are you refusing to serve me? I'd like an explanation. The cabin holds its breath. Kylie spins around, hands on hips, her smile gone, replaced by a scowl. I'm not refusing anyone, she fires back, her voice tight with defensiveness. If you've got a problem, file a complaint when we land. That's the spark. Carter's eyes darken, but his voice remains a steel blade wrapped in velvet. I don't need to wait. I need you to do your job now. The words land like a gavel, authoritative, unyielding. Kylie flinches, caught off guard, but instead of backing down, she explodes. Don't you dare order me around, she shrieks, her pitch slicing through the cabin. I'm not your servant. Heads turn, eyes widen, and the plane transforms into a theater of chaos. The businessman in 14D yanks his earbuds out, muttering, These people always make a scene. Across the aisle, the single mother in 15C clutches her whimpering toddler tighter and snaps. She's wrong, just asked for water. The fuse is lit, and the fire spreads fast. The college students in the back, already primed for drama, leap into action. One pulls out his phone, the camera rolling as he yells, Yo, she's straight up discriminating. Kylie whirls on them, her face flushed red. Put that phone away, filming's against the rules, she barks, but the students just laugh. What rules? One shoots back. This ain't a courtroom, lady. The lens stays trained on her, capturing every word, every gesture. The mother chimes in again, her voice trembling but firm. You've been ignoring him this whole flight, everyone sees it. The businessman counters, his tone dripping with disdain. She's just doing her job. He's the one escalating this. The cabin fractures into factions. Some passengers side with Kylie, grumbling about entitled complainers. Others rally behind Carter, their whispers turning to shouts. The students egg it on, their video now live streaming to X, hashtags like racist flight attendant already trending. Kylie, cornered and furious, doubles down. She storms back to Carter, pointing a finger inches from his face. You're disrupting this flight, she accuses, her voice shaking. I could have you removed. Carter doesn't flinch. He leans back, crosses his arms, and says, Go ahead. Try. The challenge hangs in the air, daring her to push further. She does. Kylie radios the cockpit, her voice crackling over the intercom. We've got a disruptive passenger in 14 requesting assistance. The captain's voice cuts through moments later, calm but stern. Everyone stay seated. We're handling it. 2 more crew members appear, a burly male attendant and a nervous trainee, but their presence only fans the flames. The mother stands up, toddler on her hip, and yells, He's not the problem, she is. The students cheer her on, their phones multiplying, 3 cameras now rolling. The businessman slams his laptop shut, shouting, "Can we all just shut up and fly?" Carter remains the eye of the storm, silent but radiating authority. He watches Kylie unravel, her composure shredded as she argues with the crew. "He's been harassing me this whole time." It's a lie so bold it draws gasps. The male attendant steps toward Carter, hand raised to de-escalate, but Carter cuts him off with a single sentence. "I've asked for water 4 times. She's refused." That's the truth. His words are a lifeline, pulling the crew up short. The trainee hesitates, glancing at the cart full of water bottles, her doubt palpable. The standoff peaks as the plane hits turbulence, both literal and figurative. Cups rattle, passengers grip their armrests, and the student's video goes viral, racking up thousands of views mid-flight. Comments flood in. "This is insane. Sue her. Where's the justice?" On board, the mother starts a chant, "Water. Water." And a few others join, their voices ragged but defiant. Kylie's face twists with rage and panic. She's losing control and she knows it. She lunges for the student's phone, trying to snatch it, but he yanks it back, laughing. "Too late, lady, it's online." By the time the captain announces descent, the cabin is a powder keg. Carter's restraint has cracked, his silence giving way to a quiet fury that promises reckoning. Kylie, backed into a corner, clings to her authority like a lifeline, but it's slipping through her fingers. The crew hovers, unsure who to restrain. The mother weeps softly, the businessman seethes, and the students revel in the chaos they've amplified. The video's reach explodes, millions now watching, waiting for the landing that will ignite a firestorm. What began as a petty slight has spiraled into a full-blown confrontation, and the world is about to see it all. The plane lurches toward its final descent, the cabin a pressure cooker ready to blow. The air crackles with tension, the hum of the engines drowned out by the cacophony of raised voices, clattering carts, and the faint ping of the seatbelt sign flickering on. Judge James Carter sits in 14B, his gray sweater now a stark contrast to the storm he's about to unleash. His legal brief lies crumpled beside him, abandoned in the chaos that's consumed the flight. Across the aisle, the single mother clutches her toddler, her eyes darting between Carter and the unraveling flight attendant, Kylie, whose blonde bun has loosened, strands falling like her crumbling facade. The college students in the back hoot and holler, their phones still rolling, live streaming the madness to an audience now numbering in the millions on X. The businessman in 14D slumps in his seat, muttering curses under his breath, while the crew, outmatched and overwhelmed, hovers uselessly in the aisle. Kylie, her face a mask of fury and desperation, makes her final stand. "You're done," she screeches at Carter, jabbing a finger toward him. "When we land, security's taking you off this plane." Her voice trembles, but her bravado is hollow, a last-ditch effort to reclaim control. The male attendant nods grimly, stepping closer to Carter, while the trainee lingers behind, her eyes wide with uncertainty. The students jeer, "Yeah, right?" And the mother snaps, "She's lying, he's done nothing wrong." The cabin teeters on the edge, every passenger a live wire, waiting for the spark. That spark comes when Carter rises from his seat. The motion is slow, deliberate, a man shedding the cloak of restraint he's worn for hours. At 6 feet tall, his presence fills the cramped space, his quiet dignity morphing into something commanding, almost regal. The cabin falls silent, a collective intake of breath as he reaches into his pocket. Kylie smirks, expecting defiance, but what he pulls out isn't a weapon or a phony, it's a slim leather wallet. He flips it open, revealing a gleaming federal judge's badge, and his voice cuts through the chaos like a blade. "I am Judge James Carter, United States Federal Court. And you, ma'am, have just committed a prosecutable act of discrimination." The words detonate. Kylie's smirk vanishes, her face draining of color as if the air's been sucked out of her lungs. The businessman's jaw drops, his laptop sliding off his lap with a thud. The mother gasps, clutching her child tighter, while the students erupt in cheers. "Oh snap! She's toast." Their cameras zooming in on the badge, the live stream chat exploding with fire emojis and "justice" in all caps. The male attendant freezes mid-step, his hand dropping to his side, and the trainee stammers, Sir." Carter ignores them, his gaze locked on Kylie, who stumbles back against the cart, knocking over a stack of cups that clatter to the floor. I've endured your refusal to serve me for 3 hours. Carter continues, his voice steady but thunderous, each word a hammer strike. I've asked politely, repeatedly, and you've responded with lies and hostility. This ends now. He pulls out his phone, dials a number, and puts it on speaker. A crisp voice answers. Federal Marshal Service, how may I assist? Carter doesn't hesitate. This is Judge James Carter. I'm on flight 742, landing in 15 minutes. I need marshals at the gate to detain a flight attendant for discriminatory conduct under federal law. She's a liability. Cuff her the moment we're down. The line crackles with a swift, yes, Your Honor, and he hangs up, his eyes never leaving Kylie's. Panic seizes her. You can't do that, she shrieks, lunging toward him, but the male attendant grabs her arm, pulling her back. You're crazy, I didn't do anything. Her voice cracks, a mix of fear and disbelief, but the evidence is everywhere. The untouched water bottles, the viral video, the witnesses now nodding in agreement. The mother stands, pointing at Kylie. You treated him like dirt, we all saw it. The students chant, lock her up, their phones capturing every second of her downfall. The businessman, suddenly silent, sinks lower in his seat, as if wishing to disappear. The plane touches down with a jolt, tires screeching on the tarmac, but the real impact is still unfolding inside. As it taxis to the gate, blue lights flash through the windows. Federal marshals right on cue. The captain's voice crackles over the intercom. Folks, remain seated. We've got a situation being handled. Passengers crane their necks, buzzing with anticipation. The door swings open and 3 marshals in dark jackets storm aboard, their boots thudding down the aisle. Kylie Reynolds, one barks, holding up a photo from her employee file. She stammers, this is a mistake. But they're already on her, snapping cuffs around her wrists. The click echoes, a sound of finality. The cabin erupts. The students whoop, filming the arrest as the live stream hits peak viewership, 5 million and climbing. The mother wipes tears from her eyes, whispering, thank God, while her toddler claps, oblivious but caught up in the energy. The businessman mutters, unbelievable. But there's no conviction left in his tone. Kylie struggles, her protest turning to sobs as the marshals haul her toward the exit, her uniform askew, her career in tatters. Carter watches, impassive, as they pass, then gathers his things with the calm of a man who's just restored order to chaos. Outside, the tarmac swarms with activity. Airport security cordons off the gate as news vans screech into the terminal parking lot, cameras flashing the moment Kylie's escorted out in cuffs. Reporters shout questions, what happened up there? Is this racial profiling? While passengers spill out, some already on their phones with local stations. The students upload their full video, now a 20-minute saga titled, Racist Flight Attendant Busted by Judge, racking up shares faster than the servers can handle. Within an hour, CNN and Fox News break the story, headlines screaming, Federal judge orders arrest of flight attendant mid-flight. The fallout escalates at lightning speed. The airline's PR team scrambles, their X account flooded with outrage. Boycott sky-high trends nationwide. Civil rights groups like the NAACP issue statements. This is systemic time for accountability. Legal experts weigh in on cable news, debating Carter's authority to act so swiftly, while politicians seize the moment, some praising his resolve, others decrying vigilante justice. Even the NBA chimes in, a star player tweeting, Judge Carter's my new hero. Back on the plane, the crew faces a barrage of questions from passengers, their stammered apologies drowned out by demands for answers. Kylie, now in a holding room at the airport, collapses under the weight of it all. Her supervisor arrives, face grim, and mutters, You've got no idea what you've done. Her phone buzzes incessantly, texts from friends, calls from family, notifications of her face plastered across every screen in America. The public's wrath is immediate and unrelenting. Her name trends with racist attached, her social media accounts unearthed and torn apart. Carter, meanwhile, strides through the terminal, flanked by marshals, his expression unreadable but his mission clear. The world watches, stunned, as a single flight becomes a national reckoning, and it's only just begun. The airport terminal buzzes like a kicked hornet's nest, a swarm of flashing cameras, shouting reporters, and gawking onlookers spilling out from the gate where Flight 742 has just disgorged its chaos into the world. Judge James Carter strides through the melee, his gray sweater now a symbol of quiet defiance, flanked by federal marshals who part the crowd like a blade through water. His face is a mask of resolve, betraying no hint of the storm he's unleashed. Behind him, Kylie Reynolds' cuffs glinting on her wrist stumbles as she's hustled into a back room by airport security, her blonde bun a tangled mess, her uniform stained with the sweat of her unraveling life. The viral video, now a 20-minute epic of her downfall, loops endlessly on screens across the nation, its view count ticking into the tens of millions. In that holding room, Kylie collapses into a plastic chair, her breath shallow and ragged. The marshals stand guard, their faces stone cold, while her supervisor, a harried woman in a blazer, bursts in, slamming a tablet onto the table. "Do you realize what you've done?" she hisses, jabbing at the screen showing the airline stock plummeting in real time. Kylie's phone, confiscated but still buzzing, lights up with notifications. Her name trending with racist Kylie, her old Instagram posts dissected for bigotry, her life flayed open for the world to judge. "I didn't mean it," she sobs, but the words drown in the tide of her own making. Within hours, the airline suspends her pending investigation, a press release hastily issued. "We do not condone discrimination." It's too late, the damage is done. Sky High Airlines reels as the fallout spreads like wildfire. By morning, their stock has tanked 15%, wiping out millions in market value. Furious passengers flood X with boycott Sky High, sharing screenshots of canceled bookings and tales of past grievances. A class action lawsuit brews as lawyers smell blood, alleging systemic bias in the company's ranks. The CEO, dragged from a golf course to face the press, stammers through a televised apology. "We're conducting a full review, heads will roll." Behind closed doors, executives scramble to contain the PR nightmare. But the video, Judge Carter's calm authority versus Kylie's shrill defiance, plays on every news channel, a damning exhibit no spin can erase. Meanwhile, Carter returns to his chambers in D.C., slipping back into his black robe as if the flight were a minor detour. But the world won't let him fade. The story explodes beyond the tarmac, igniting a national firestorm. The NAACP hails him as a hero, issuing a statement. Judge Carter stood for justice when others stayed silent. Protests erupt outside Sky High's headquarters, marchers hoisting signs, "No water, no peace," while counter-demonstrators wave support Kylie banners, claiming she's a victim of cancel culture. Cable news splits down the middle. One side lauds Carter's decisive action, the other decries his abuse of power. Pundits dissect his every word, his badge a lightning rod in a polarized America. The legal gears grind into motion. Kylie's arrest triggers a federal investigation, her charge of discriminatory conduct under Title VI, escalated by Carter's testimony. Prosecutors pore over the video, passenger statements, and crew logs, building a case that lands in Carter's own district. Though he recuses himself, his influence looms large. Her lawyer, a sweaty public defender, pleads for leniency. She's young, stressed, mistakes were made. But the evidence is ironclad, and public pressure unrelenting. By week's end, she's fired outright, her termination letter citing gross misconduct. Whispers of a plea deal swirl community service, a fine, but the specter of jail time hangs heavy. The ripple effects widen. Sky High, desperate to salvage its reputation, overhauls its training, mandating bias workshops and body cams for crew, a move mocked as too little too late on X. Competitors seize the moment, touting their inclusive skies in slick ads. The FAA launches a broader probe into airline practices, spurred by Carter's case, while Congress schedules hearings, senators grandstanding about systemic rot in aviation. The single mother from 15C, now a minor celebrity, appears on morning shows, her toddler waving to cameras as she recounts, "He was so calm, then boom, justice." The student's video wins them a journalism prize, their brash courage a footnote turned headline. A month later, the courtroom showdown arrives. Kylie, pale and hollow-eyed, faces a packed gallery, activists, reporters, even the businessman from 14D, subpoenaed to testify. Carter's absence is felt, his recusal a silent testament to his integrity, but his words echo in every filing. The prosecution plays the video frame by frame. Kylie sneers, Carter's restraint, the badge reveal. Her defense crumbles, She takes a plea 6 months probation, a public apology, her voice breaking as she reads it. I'm sorry for my actions. The gavel falls, but the crowd outside roars louder, some cheering, others decrying a slap on the wrist. The story metastasizes into a cultural touchstone. Protests morph into policy debates, airlines adopt stricter codes. Lawmakers float a Passenger Rights Act. Carter, reluctantly thrust into the spotlight, pens an op-ed. Silence is complicity. Justice demands action. It goes viral, shared by everyone from NBA stars to senators. Kylie vanishes from public view. Her name a cautionary tale whispered in break rooms. Sky High limps on, its brand scarred, its profits bleeding. Society shifts, if only slightly. Flight attendants nationwide double-check their carts, wary of hidden judges among the masses. Passengers film more, trust less, their phones a new weapon in the skies. The mothers chant water. Water becomes a meme, a rallying cry for the overlooked. Carter's legacy grows, a black man in a sweater who turned a petty slight into a seismic reckoning. The nation watches, argues, reflects, divided yet riveted by a flight that laid bare its fault lines. The plane may have landed, but the turbulence lingers, shaking the ground beneath an industry, a woman, and a country still grappling with what it means to be fair. The dust settles, but the echoes of Flight 742 reverberate across America, a sonic boom of consequence that refuses to fade. Judge James Carter steps back into the rhythm of his life, his chambers a quiet sanctuary of oak and leather, the black robe slipping over his shoulders like armor. The gray sweater, once a footnote, now an icon, hangs in his closet, a relic of the day he turned a cramped airplane into a courtroom. He's no longer just a federal judge. He's a symbol, his name whispered in barbershops and boardrooms alike, a man who wielded justice at 30,000 feet. Yet he remains stoic, deflecting the spotlight with a curt, "I did what was right," leaving the world to wrestle with the aftermath. Kylie Reynolds, meanwhile, vanishes into obscurity, a ghost unmade by her own hands. Her blonde bun and crisp uniform are distant memories, replaced by a hoodie and a life lived offline. The plea deal 6 months probation. A forced apology spared her jail, but not judgment. Her name lingers on X as a hashtag of shame. Her old posts screenshotted and shared as exhibits a through Z of her downfall. She finds work at a small diner, far from airports, her eyes darting nervously at every customer, as if expecting another badge to flash. Friends say she's sorry. Strangers say she's not sorry enough. Her story ends not with redemption, but with a quiet Fidea cautionary tale etched into the margins of a nation's memory. Sky High Airlines limps forward, a wounded giant staggering under the weight of its own reckoning. The stock recovers some, but the scars remain. A 20% dip in bookings, a tarnished logo, a reputation that stinks of stale water and bad decisions. The CEO resigns in disgrace, replaced by a polished reformer promising a new era. New policies roll out: mandatory bias training, passenger complaint hotlines, crew audits, but the public's trust is a cracked runway, slow to mend. Rivals swoop in, their ads dripping with sanctimony. Fly with dignity. The industry watches, learns, adapts. Flight attendants now pour water with a nervous glance. Every tray a tightrope walk between service and scandal. The broader impact unfurls like a flag in the wind. Carter's op-ed silences complicity, ignites a movement, its words plastered on protest signs and quoted in sermons. The Passenger Rights Act gains traction in Congress, a bipartisan push to codify protections against mid-flight discrimination. Activists hail it as a win. Skeptics call it overreach. The FAA's probe exposes cracks in other airlines, sparking a wave of reforms: body cams, diversity quotas, zero-tolerance clauses. The single mother from 15C, now a soft-spoken advocate, speaks at rallies, her toddlers giggle, a reminder of the stakes. The student's video, a Pulitzer contender, inspires a generation to film first, ask later, a new era of accountability born at cruising altitude. Society feels the shift, subtle but seismic. Water bottles become totems of equity, a quiet test on every flight. Passengers eye crew with a mix of wariness and expectation, their phones ready to capture the next viral reckoning. Carter's face graces magazine covers, the judge who took flight, his legacy a mirror held up to America's soul. The nation debates. Was he a hero or a hammer? Did he heal a wound or widen it? The answer eludes, but the question lingers. a splinter under the skin of a country still sorting its values. The story closes with a final tableau. Carter, alone in his office, sips coffee not water staring out at a city that's changed because he wouldn't stay silent. Kylie, wiping down a diner counter, flinches at a news report replaying her arrest. Sky-high planes soar again, but their wings carry the weight of a lesson hard-learned. The mother and students move on, their voices amplified by a moment they didn't plan. And the industry, it flies straighter, chastened, its policies rewritten in the ink of one man's stand. Here's the takeaway. Justice isn't loud, it's persistent. One voice, one choice can crack open a system and demand it do better. So what about you? If you saw wrong at 30,000 feet or 30 feet, would you speak? Let that sit with you. If this tale hit you hard, smash that like button, share it wide, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more stories that shake the ground. Thanks for writing this one out. Have a damn good day.